All right. And good day, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of Truly Foundation. And of course, in Miracles with your host, Oliver Blue. And I am so delighted that the day has come, this moment has come, that we get together around this grand happening, this grand journey that we have embarked on for over an entire year. So we're entered into month 14. It's the 14th consecutive month that we have been sharing these workbook lessons specifically for the purpose of helping all of us to uh, helping all of us to uh, embrace this so required transformation so that we can all come into a clear awareness and understanding of what life is all about, who we are, who God is, who our nation is, who our world is, who our brothers and sisters are. I mean, this journey is about all of the most important questions, getting clarity, getting some insight on what is it all about and what am I to do with it. We live in a world that seemingly is in chaos and confusion. We have learned through our study here with these workbook lessons that's coming from a really high advanced point of view, a high advanced awareness and consciousness that it has caused a lot of us to be startled, a lot of us to be challenged, a lot of our thinking to be startled and challenged, a lot of our interpretation, a lot of our perceptions to be examined. And most importantly, it has caused us to make decisions as to what we believe, why we believe it, and does it really add to the quality of our life? And I am be the first one to tell you that I am so happy and grateful and thankful for this journey, whereby we have focused on the mind. Because you know, like I know, if you've been in this world any amount of time, that is where life is determined. It's determined by our thinking. Everything is determined by our thinking. And we have discovered that it is our wrong thinking or our limited thinking that has caused all of our experiences. That is the source. It is the creative power that has really created this entire world. It is a result. What we see is a result of the thoughts and the ideas of humanity. It's reflected out in the world. But we have found out that in many cases, or in most cases, that what we have made is in opposition to the very purpose for us being here. It's in opposition to our very nature. That what we have made is really has been an attack on reality, an attack on the universal mind, on the attack on it has really appeared to be like it's an attack on God, or an attack on love, or an attack on reality. But all of that is being corrected, and the correction comes through the same portal in which the error occur, which is through the mind of humanity. That's why the renewing of the mind. That's why the transformational process is an unavoidable experience that any being can have. We must be transformed back to our original state. The transformation must occur. It's a guarantee by God that it will occur with everyone. Maybe not in the lifetime that we're currently in. We may have to live another. I don't know. But what I do know is that which is guaranteed by God, the purposes of God shall prevail. There's no way about it. There's no two ways about it. That which God has purposed from the very beginning, from ancients of days, it will prevail. Regardless of what it looks like, regardless of what it sounds like. The sights and the sounds of this world are getting louder and louder. Why? Because they are on their way out. They're on their way being brought to the truth and conformed and reformed back to the original purpose. So there's no need to worry. There's no need to be anxious. There's no need to fear. The plan of God is being unfolded perfectly. And here we are in 2023, and it's our time. It's our moment. It's our day. What are we choosing? What are we choosing? Which plan are we following? Which ideas are we supporting? Is it according to the will of God? Do we know what the will of God is? And what we have found out in this journey through the workbook lessons of A Course in Miracles, that ultimately the purpose of God the purpose of God is for all humanity to wake up and return to its original state of being, its original habitat, to return or to remember who we are as the creation of God, as the perfect, holy, innocent creation of God. And for us to forgive the world for what we made it for. And for us to forgive everyone for what we thought they were. And to forgive ourselves for dreaming up this dream of separation, for being the dream and the dreamer. And ultimately, to once and for all, for all of us, to awaken in the place that we have never left, and that is in the heart of God, which is our home. To understand that we indeed remain as God created us. Therefore, we are the unchanged. We are the unchanging, and we are the unchangeable. Only in dreams, only in hallucinations, only in fantasies, only in the vain imagining of a mind that thinks that it has successfully separated itself from a source can one even imagine going on a prodigal journey, leaving what the creation story would call Eden, leaving heaven, leaving our reality, leaving our wholeness, our completeness. How insane it would be for one to leave everything in search of nothing. And that is kind of the story of humanity. We left everything in search of nothing. But the turning point in the story is when humanity comes to himself, like the prodigal son, and say, I'm going back home. This is a waste of time. Has been a waste of my energy, and it's been a waste of my resources. It's been a waste of my peace. It's been a waste of the clarity, the understanding, and the awareness and the consciousness. I'm going back home. And so we're all on this return home, this journey of returning to our original habitat, this return to our place where there is lasting peace. Because this is what we all desire, lasting, undisturbed peace, which includes what Jesus called this abundant life, with nothing missing and with nothing broken, and with nothing in discord and nothing in disarray and nothing in chaos and nothing in confusion, but everything working in concert and in harmony and in oneness and in unity. This is the will of our Father. This is the will of the universe. This is even the earth, even the physical earth, even the heavenlies, the stars and the moon, and even the galaxies, even the ocean, even the mountains, everything that is being sustained by this one life. Desire for humanity to put things back into order, in divine order. And it's going to happen the same way it appeared to get out of order. It's going to get back in order through humanity, through the awakening, through the enlightenment, through the renewing of the mind, where we come to now understand, first of all, our true identity as these infinite, impersonal, and self-aware beings that's made not just in the image and likeness of God, but is made as the very essence of what God is. We cannot solve the problems in our life, in our communities, in our world with the same mindset, with the same mental awareness, with the same thought processes. We will not be able to solve humanity's problems thinking at the same level that we thought when we created the problems. No, there has to be an elevation above the battleground. There has to be an awakening, an enlightenment, a recognition that which has gone wrong has gone wrong as a result of our thinking, and that with the same mind that we thought of separation is with the same mind that we will embrace and accept the unity, the oneness that we share, the love that we share, the one life that we share. The fact that we are impregnable, meaning that we are intricately linked to one another and to God. We share this one life together. It is not multiple lives. It is the one source of all the life. And what is in what appears to be a part of the life has all the whole life in it. In other words, your appearance in form, with your access to this mind, it has the capacity of everything that God is. It has direct access to the universal mind, to the mind of Christ. where there's shared oneness, where there's equality, where there's love only, where there's one interest, it's shared interest. And so we know where we're headed. And it's a guaranteed. God has guaranteed that surely I have blessed him. Surely I have created the one thing that I love above all else. And that is the I am. And we are all part of that I am. That we are. That above even himself, he loves that which he has extended, because what he has extended, or what love has extended, is itself. So how sweet it is to be loved by love. How sweet can it be to be loved by love? And so this is another day that we look into another workbook lesson out of A Course in Miracles. Workbook lesson 306. That states the end game of all of this. What is the end game? The end game is peace. The end game is peace for all of us. If I took a survey of all the 8 billion people on the planet and asked them, give me the top 3 things that you would love to experience in your life on a daily basis. In 80% of those cases, peace would be one of those items. Peace means clarity of mind. It means peace meaning having an awareness of our oneness with each other and with our Creator. Peace is knowing that the universe is for us and not against us. Peace include the mere fact that we have eternal life, that we're these infinite selves that we share with the one self. Peace has to do with life more abundantly. Peace has to do with these bodies being healthy, serviceable instruments that are grand servants. Peace has to do with no more pain, no more suffering, no more anguish, no more not knowing, no more self-deception, no more anger, no more fear, no more being afraid of love, no more attacking one another, no more entertaining thoughts that are not loving thoughts. Because if you entertain a loving thought, if you entertain an unloving thought and don't examine it as such, you will manifest that thought. You will find yourself projecting that idea onto yourself. Because when you project it on others, you are projecting it on yourself, because there's only one of us. We have to understand this. Otherwise, we will continue to recycle our own unhappiness. We will continue to recycle our own habits that no longer serve us. And this is only an acknowledgement that we have become afraid of love. But that's okay. It happens to all of us. And that is why it is so vital that we do our mind work and our heart work every day, in every moment of the day. Spend our quiet time before we even meet with people, before we even have any conversation outside of ourselves. We need to have that conversation with ourselves to remind ourselves who we are and who humanity is. And that every act that goes on during the day, it is an act of either extending love or we're crying out for love. And we cry out for love in the form of projecting onto others the very thing that we fear. And we think by projecting that we're getting rid of it, but all we're doing is reinforcing the fear in ourselves. We have to learn this. We have to understand projection. We're only reinforcing it in ourselves. We can only project how we see ourselves. And we think we see that this is what we're seeing in others, but we're really seeing it in ourselves. And we think the way to get rid of it is to project it out. No, we're only reinforcing it in ourselves. You'll never get rid of it that way. That's what Paul meant when he said, I see this struggle inside of me. The things I do, I don't want to do. The things I want to do, I don't do. These habits, I can't get rid of them. These perceptions, I can't get rid of them. These fears, I can't get rid of them. But yes, you can. It's a matter of knowing how to. There is a way of doing everything. That's why these lessons are so vital. We're teaching you how the creative process works. We're teaching you how to go to the source, which is the mind, which is the thought. We're teaching you about the power of your decisions to think in a certain way. We're teaching you the power of your decision to either accept or reject ideas that are not in alignment with love. So that when we speak, so that when we think, so that when we act, so that when we perceive, that we think and we act and perceive according to the standard of love. Not the love of this world, but God's love, which God love is that what? God so loved that he gave, that he's always giving, he's always supporting, he's always sharing, he's always trying to find ways to bring you to a place of joy and peace and happiness. God love is always healing. God love is always forgiving. And so these lessons have saved my life. It has caused me to think about what I'm thinking about. It has caused me to watch every word that is spoken out of my mouth. These lessons has caused me to sit quietly and to contemplate what is real and what is not. These lessons have caused me and others, I know there's others, to listen. To listen. And to judge not. Because in our judgment, that judgment is measured back to us. And so I judge all things according to love. I judge all things according to the reality that all of us are the creation of God, that all of us are brothers, all of us are sisters, all of us are the one family. All of the world has gone free. I let all the world go free. The Course teaches us that. Let the world go free. When we hold on to an expectation of this world that it cannot deliver, we're holding ourselves in hostage. We're holding the world in hostage. The world is neutral. It only will reflect what's in our minds. So the world to us is a mirror of what's in our mind. So if we don't like what we see in others or in ourselves or in the world, then it is a reflection that we don't like what we see in our mind. And we have to go to the source to change what we see. You cannot fix that on the outside. You can't fix a person. You can't fix an eternal, infinite being with a finite solution. It cannot happen. But what you can do is create from within the thing that you want to see without. And that's what you project out. So if you want love and peace and joy and fulfillment and abundance and happiness and great relationships, whatever it is you want, a great career, a great opportunity to display your talent, it doesn't matter, whatever you want, you build it from the inside out. It's called blueprinting. It's called using your imagination and your intuition. It's called using your creative powers to design a life that you would love. And you design it by renewing the mind, not by going out into the world and demanding and taking it, but you create it first of all in your mind. Because whatever you create in your mind and hold in your mind, you will hold it in your hands. And so we are holding a lot of things in our hands that we have created in our mind that we don't like. We have created so much that we don't like, but we created it. But the good news is, with the same thought process, with the same source of thinking, we can use our thoughts now to create something that we would love. But it comes on the heel of the renewing of the mind. It comes on the heel of transforming our perceptions. It comes on the heel of embracing a way of seeing that is not the way of the world, but a way of seeing that is of the mind of God. We call it the mind of Christ. We call it Christ's vision in this study. Christ's vision is merely an acknowledgement that our point of view is the point of view from oneness and not from a multiplicity or separation or division. But it's from a point of view that we all are one, and we all have this self-image, and we all have this self-interest, this interest that we all share. That the same force and the same power that beats your hearts beat all the other 8,000 hearts. The same power that causes the blood to flow through your vessels is the same power that causes the blood to flow through all vessels. The same power that causes the receiving and descending of messages from the brain to the nerves all over your body, to every cell in your body, is the same power that we all share. The same power that provides for the working of the mechanics in a machine, for the computers in a device, for all of the organs in your body It's the same power, and it works for everyone equally. It works for everyone equally, and it will function to the perfection for which they were created, unless humanity creates a mental block. Unless we create a mental block by our limited or wrong thinking. Our wrong thinking will cause your wrong thinking. My wrong thinking will cause your automobile to not run right. It will cause your everything in your life to get out of alignment. And we try to fix those things out there, and we only make more of a mess. Why? Because the problem is in here. And now I point in here, the mind is not in our heads. Our heads couldn't contain the mind. The mind is a formless and a timeless agent that activate our access to the physical as well as to the invisible. The mind cannot be put in a box. The mind is not something that you can see on an x-ray. You can see the brain on an x-ray, but you can't see the mind. You can see your ear or your toe, but you cannot see the mind. Why? Because the mind is timeless. The mind is formless. It is spirit. And because you are spirit, you are what? You are aware of this mind that is working in you or through you. And this mind that appears to be independent and separate and individuated, this mind is in connection with the universal mind or the mind of God. And it is through that connection that we are receiving daily, moment by moment, downloads. It puts us on the same frequency as God. We can hear God and God's messages and we can fellowship with God's very nature, because we are of the same nature. Through that mind that appears to be an extension of the universal mind. Your individual self is an extension of the one universal mind. Just like the sun rays and the sunbeams that extend from the sun, and they appear to be separate from the sun, appear to be momentarily. But as you continue to look, what you notice is that all of the sunbeams and the sun rays, they retract back into the sun. And everything in each one of those individual rays is everything that's in the sun. That's what Jesus meant when he said, all power has been given unto me in heaven and in earth. And then he said, all power has been given unto us in heaven and in earth through the mind. Paul said it this way. It is God. It is the universal mind. It is the source of all life that is at work within us to will and to do of what? Its good pleasure. That's what he's talking about. When you go to the ocean and you see the waves upon waves coming to shore. Every wave is different from every other wave. And each wave appears to be separate from every other wave and separate from the depth of the ocean, temporarily. Only to know that eventually every drop, every wave, every drop of water, it will eventually ascend where? Back into the depth of the ocean. But everything, all the qualities that's in the depth of the ocean, those qualities, those values, that equality is in every wave. Therefore, every human that has ever appeared on the planet incarnate in what we call a body, which we call a human being. Everyone, all through ancient history, that has ever appeared, they have appeared here in the form of God, in form. And you've noticed bodily that all has what? All have aspired bodily, but only the body has aspired. The energy, the nature, the essence of what gave life to the body, it has what? It's gone back to its source. And the source is God. And so we come here, it's like we come here to try to make permanent these individuated selves, these individuated experiences with our individuated histories, to say, look at me. Look at me. And we can only look so long, because eventually you're going to be gone physically. No, we should be saying, look at us. Look at the life. Look at the oneness that we share. Look at the love that we get to emanate. Look at the expression that we are here to what? Express love. We're here to give love to one another. That's the will of God. To forgive one another, to love one another, to support one another, to see all of us as equal, as one, to be able to look past the labels, to the appearances of gender and nationality and religion and politics, to be able to look past all the appearances and all the labels that the world would put on you. That you're for this team or that team, or you're for this entertainer or that, scientist, or, all of these things. And we end up dividing in all of these different categories. And where is the peace? And we wonder, what happened to the peace? The peace is in our thinking, that we're divided and separate. The peace is in our actions, where we see other people and other things as either superior or inferior to us. And so it creates this sense of fear and being vulnerable. And so we think that the result or the solution is war and fighting. We think the solution is buying all the guns and all the ammunition that we can buy, because there's a war. See, all this is happening in the mind. And then it becomes a society of kill or be killed. And that's what you see that's happening out there, where this generation has no idea of the value of life. So they will take a life without even thinking about it. Not knowing that they're taking their own life. Because to take a life is to expose your mind to a dark place, to expose your innocence to a jailhouse of guilt, to hate someone, to hold a grievance against someone, to withhold your love for someone, or to deny someone to love you. It's all the same thing. It all puts us in a place of darkness, a place of fear and anxiety. And then we want to go medicate, or we want to, we want to medicate, or we want to hurt someone. All in a effort to get rid of the guilt, to get rid of the shame, to get rid of the darkness that we have allowed to evade our thinking. No, the only real solution is our thinking. And that's why we are here every day, almost every day, have been for the last 13 months, 14 months, sharing these workbook lessons out of A Course in Miracles. We're not just here competing. We're not here trying to convert anyone, trying to change what anyone's decisions. We're here, like Jesus said, to be the light of the world. We're to be the light. We're here for healing and wholeness. This message of truly is a message to the world of awakened consciousness. It's a message of enlightened awareness or enlightened consciousness to bring humanity to a place of resolute where there can be real resolve, and real resolve happens only in love. And love happens when we remove the veil, when we remove the block to the awareness that love is everywhere present, that God is everywhere present. We don't have to go anywhere to get anything. It is in our remembrance. It is in that mind that we have access to. And so we have to take responsibility for our thinking. Therefore, just like an athlete that performs at the highest level, what do? They have a pre-game. They have a pre-season. They have a daily ritual and a daily routine by which they spend that quality, quiet time with themselves, reminding themselves of who they are. They spend that quality time with themselves, being professionals. And all humanity is professionals. We are the professionals of faith. We are the professionals of love, the professional of grace. But we have to work on our craft. We have to work on our thinking. We have to work on our reminding. We have to work on our words. We have to work on our actions. And as we practice day in and day out, thinking in alignment with reality, forgive me 1 minute. I have to take this call. I do apologize, but that was obviously a very, very important call that was coming in. And thank you for your patience. But that is a place for us to let me get into the message, into the lesson. So the message for the lesson for today, or the thought for today, or the idea for today is there is a peace that Christ bestows on all of us. And not that he bestows it. Bestows mean continuously bestow, but that word bestows mean that it's almost like it's a crowning. This peace that all of us desire. What is being said here in this lesson is that this peace is always, every day, every moment present for our abiding. But we ask the question, why is there not sustained peace in my life? That's a great question. It would have to be that there is a block between the peace that is present and our awareness of it. And so we have to remove the block. That's what transformation is. Transformation is simply removing the blocks to what is real and what is not. And so what's blocking us is what's not real. In many cases, and what's at the root of most blocks in our life is our belief in this false self that we have made. It's our belief in that we are these separate selves, these separate beings with separate purposes, with a separate interest. That we're separated, by these ideas of race and gender and nationality, and religion and politics and arts and science and every arena in life. In the world that we live in, the world will place you in some description. It will place you under some category. And then with each category, with each division that you've been placed under, or with whichever label that is given to you, and you believe in those things are the blocks. Those are the things that become the block to the fact that peace is always constantly being bestowed upon all of us. But we can't experience it because we have allowed the block. We have allowed the veil to cover. We have allowed our wrong thinking to obscure the peace. Even in a lot of our religious communities, a lot of things that we traditionally hold to that are not correct. They don't serve us. They're not in alignment with love. We hold on to those things just because they're part of our religious journey, or our doctrine, or our religious teachings that has been handed down from generation to generations. You know how to say this old time religion. It didn't serve them then, and it's not going to serve us today. It only becomes a block to our awareness that peace is being bestowed in every instant, in every moment. So it's our thinking again. It really gets back to the thinking. We think, we've been conditioned, we've been trained, we've been automated. We've created these habits and these false ideas and this limited thinking. We've created all of these blocks to the awareness of our true identity, to the awareness that love is always present, to the awareness that peace is being bestowed on us in every moment. It is humanity's thinking that is a block to the awareness that peace is here, that you are the peace. Peace is not outside of us. And so because we put the blocks up, then we go outside of us to try to find peace in relationships, peace in careers, peace in our skills, peace in our intellectual property, peace in an event or an activity. We try to find peace anywhere we can find it. And we have these momentary experience, not knowing that the peace that we're looking for is who we are. It's in our nature. And when we align our thinking to our nature, when we align our perceptions to our reality, to the oneness that we share, to the infinite self-aware impersonal beings that we are. When the mind is aligned, when the soul prospers, as the writer says in the New Testament. May we prosper and be in health, even as our soul prosper. There is no soul prosperity. There is no peace if the mind does not prosper, if the mind does not embrace the mind of Christ, if the mind don't embrace that it has equality with everyone and with God. Without that mindset, we can only create disharmony. We can't sustain fellowship. We can't sustain peace. We can't sustain health. We can't sustain prosperity. We can't sustain anything when there is a mind that is unrenewed to reality. There was a mind there when there's a mind that continuously to reject the truth. The truth is our only way. It's our only solution. And Jesus came in his last incarnation. But in reality, it wasn't his last incarnation. Because every human being that has ever graced this earth is that incarnation. It's like the multiple waves of the ocean. There's only one ocean. It's like the multiple sunbeams and the sun rays. There's only one sun. So all of these manifestations of humanity in these different forms and different genders, with these been born all over the different parts of the world, it is but the one sun. It's but the one sun. All of us are but the one sun. It's a manifestation of the one sun that has this one Father. And when you really think about it, it's not the manifestation of the Son, but it's a manifestation of the Father. You and I and every other human being that have graced this earth has appeared here in the person of God, but most don't know it. Why? Because we pull down all these veils and blocks to the awareness of that reality. We reject it. They rejected Jesus's messages of our oneness. He gave example after example, metaphor after metaphor, parable after parable to try to teach us. And then he finally just says, "Ye are gods. Have you not read?" He finally just said it. Ye are gods. Or you are of the God in nature. You are of the one God. That's what he was saying. You are appearing here in the person of God. Your life is the person of God. But because we've been so trained by this world, that we've been so trained by the religious community, that can't be so. There was only one. Jesus is the only one. And he came here to tell you, I'm not the only one. Then Paul picked up on it and said what? God has reconciled everyone back unto himself through what? Through Christ. And we still won't believe it. No, we like to hang on to this inferiority complex that we're inferior. We're just sinners. We're just, we're just human beings. We're not perfect. You hear it all the time. We're not this. We're not that. No, in reality, we're what God said we are. And in reality, We're not these physical bodies that tread the earth. In reality, we are the timeless and formless beings that are perfect, that are complete, that are infinite, that are eternal, that is love. That's who we are. And we can get in touch with that through the mind. Grace and peace, like Paul said, is multiplied through the knowledge, through the knowing. We can have an intimate knowing with our true nature, just like you are the Son of Man, and you know what the nature is of a man. You know that. Or a woman. You know that. You experience that. But because, and that's only a temporary experience. But in your permanent self, you are spirit. In your permanent self, you are infinite. In your permanent self, you are timeless and formless. In your permanent self, you are God. And you can know that nature. But if you allow just your natural birth to pervade your thinking, to pervade you and limit your experience of yourself, you already know, I already know, that we would think that we're just mere men or mere women. And there's no happiness. There's no lasting happiness in that, because that is the Son of Man is a birth experience and a death experience. But in your true self, there is neither birth nor death. There's only life. You are eternal. And we can get in touch with that now. That's what the call has been. The call is going out to everyone to know thyself. Truly Foundation is just a means by which the call is a reminder to everyone to know the real you that loves you. So this peace that our oneness bestows upon us is everywhere present. Peace is everywhere. Peace is everywhere. And when you embrace this peace that is everywhere present, 1,000 can fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but what? It shall not what? It shall not disturb you. They could be bombing and warring. They could be killing and shooting. They could, all kinds of crazy, chaotic things could be happening. But it shall not disturb you. Why? Because you know all that is the ego ideas of life running its course, running out of time. You wonder why it seems to be getting worse? Because it's running out of time. It's running out of time. There is a place, there is a spot, there is a time appointed that all of this will be folded up like a blanket. And time will be no more as we had been experienced. But all of that chaos and all of that foolishness and all of those illusions will have been brought to the truth. Would have been brought to the light and consumed by the light. And so as we go out as the light of the world, you're going to encounter people that are crying out for love. You're going to encounter people that are fearful of love. You're going to encounter people that can't get out of their own way, that can't seem to change their habits that are self-destructive. You're going to encounter that. And in that encounter, because of your presence, because of what you stand for, because of the power that is working within you to willing to do of the one purpose of God, all of that confusion and chaos will come gushing out in your presence. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It cannot harm you. It is the healing power. It is the promise of God being made manifest that all things will be what reconciled back into the one thing. It is God's promise that all humanity what will be saved from their wrong thinking. So be not surprised when it happens. You are a part of the salvation, plan of God. You have made a decision to take your place among the saviors of the world and not remain in hell and not hold your brother in hell when you walk in this light. So be not afraid. It's okay. You are a healer. You are a miracle worker. When you walk in this reality, when your mind is renewed to this level, you're going to have all kind of crazy things that will throw up at your feet. It may come in a personal attack, but it's okay. They're trying to get free from the fear and the anxiety and the confusion that has pervaded their own thinking. And it's okay. It's part of the process. I accept my role as an ambassador for the kingdom of God, and that's part of it. And we're to love only. We're to always love only. And it is through our forgiveness that this power exudes unhindered in our presence. Just look at the life of Jesus. That's what he encountered. He went out among the people. And just because of the power that was in his life, the power of his thinking, it was the power of his thinking. There was no special power. It was the power of his thinking, which was the truth, that caused all of the unusual things to happen. I call them unusual things that caused all the miracles to happen. People were healed. People were made whole. People were set free just by the presence, because his presence was a reminder that we live in a universe where God is love and the universe is filled with love, and only the purposes of God shall prevail. That's all. And so, this peace that we're talking about, who uses but this vision that I just talked about? Who uses this vision? Who has this kind of vision? We call it Christ's vision. It says, who uses but Christ's vision finds a peace so deep and so quiet. See, when we use our mind, which you call the mind of Christ, it says that we will find this peace that is deep and quiet, undisturbable, regardless of what's happening around us. It says, and wholly changeless. It doesn't fluctuate, it doesn't vacillate, but it's changeless. That the world contains no counterpart for this peace. You cannot find this kind of peace in the world. You can't find this kind of peace in relationships. You can't find this kind of peace in the acquisition of things. You can't find this kind of peace in the honor that comes from men. You can only find this peace, the peace that passes all understanding, and the honor that comes from God only. And guess what? God has honored all of us with this honor. God has crowned all humanity with glory and honor. And we've covered it up. And we wonder, where's the peace? It's in the cover-up. You think there's been a cover-up. The biggest cover-up that ever happened. The biggest cover-up that has ever occurred. Even greater than Watergate or Spygate, or even our recent cover-ups. the greatest cover-ups that has ever happened to humanity is humanity's own denial of their own reality, of their God self. That's the greatest cover-up of all. And with these workbook lessons that we're doing day in and day out, these workbook lessons are designed to uncover the truth that's already here, the peace that's already here, the love that is already here, and all of it reside as you. You don't have to go outside of yourself. It's not outside of yourself. It only resides in you. It's a part of your essence and nature that we have substituted for the human nature, which is in opposition to your essence, your true self. And the renewing of the mind is the process whereby we understand who and what our true nature is, which is the God self, the God nature, which is love. And we begin to live from that point of love. And the human nature begins to what? It begins to yield to the love that we are. And only become an instrument to what? Share love. That's what the life, that's what the body becomes. The hand and the feet, the eyes. When Jesus said, I need your hand, I need your feet, I need your eyes. To what? Share love. That's what the body is for. And we've taken the body and made it the crown jewel of life. Look at me. Look at my stuff. Look at mine. We do all kind of crazy stuff with the bodies. We do all kinds of things with the body. Trying to find significance, trying to get an audience, trying to find significance in our life. And the body is not designed to do that. That's why it breaks down. We add purposes to the body that it cannot handle. It is not who you are. We cannot promote our body as our identification. That is not who we are. We're not bodies. We are aware of a body that we're expressing our love through, but we are not that. Just like the car downstairs in my garage. That car is not me. Just like the clothes in the closet. That's not who I am. But when I get in them, they come alive. When I get in the car, when I get in the clothes in the car come alive. I am not an event or an activity or a sensation. I am not what man has defined or categorized me as. I'm not black. I'm not white. I'm not an American. I'm not all these labels. Those are just signposts, but that's not who I am. That's not who you are. And when you try to be those things, which are just temporary, which are just illusionary ideas, no wonder we feel so depressed. No wonder we are saying that we're in a mental crisis, because humanity has forgotten who they are. And the real solution is to come to know the real you that loves you. That's why we're here. I know, I've been there. I've been in the dungeon. I've been at where my mind was so dark because I was believing in the labels. I was believing what I was told. I was such in a dark place. So I know I am touched with the infirmities of a person that's walking in darkness. I'm touched with the infirmities of one that is not quite sure who they are. I know I was there. And that's what drives my purpose. That's what makes me just want to just take everyone and pull them to the side and say, hey, look, let me tell you who you are, man. A woman You're not going to find peace in this. You're not going to be happy about this. Maybe for a moment, but you'll be right back at another thing, and then another, and then another, and then another. And all our life, we're just chasing after nothing. We're chasing after the things that Jesus said, once you discover who you are, he said, they'll be added unto you. When you like to live that life. But he says, seek ye first what? The kingdom. What is the kingdom? Your true identity. In fact, he said the kingdom of God is you. See? He says, seek that first. That should be our priority every day, in every moment of the day. And when we walk in that awareness, we will attract to us the things that we think we need or we think we require. They will be added unto us. So there is no counterpart in the world to compare to the peace that is a part of who we are. Comparisons are still, it said, comparisons stand still before this peace. That's why we should never compare. That's why we should never compete. What we call competition is an idea that one must win at the expense of another. That there is no win-win. And see, but we've been highly trained in that, and we train our kids that way. And then we grow up, and everything is about competing. We compete in business. We compete in all of the different communities, and it's not about competition. It should be about this shared creation that we all share, and we put it on display. We don't compete, we put it on display. So how about watching the next sporting event without saying, okay, this is my team or your team, but just say, hey, I'm going to watch this because these guys are putting on display high level performance, and I'm going to enjoy it. Yeah, there's someone going to, in the system of scoring, come up as the one that displayed that which needs to be acknowledged. It's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying there should not be winners in sporting events, but there's never a loser. But you know what that does to the psyche? Do you know what that does to the self? There's a better way of approaching this. There's a better way. There is a better way that leads to peace and happiness and joy and fulfillment for all of us. Instead of 3% of the people controlling 97% of the resources in the world. You see what that has gotten us? It never was designed to be that way. But it's that way because of our thinking. So we should never compare ourselves. There's nothing to compare yourself with. You are everything. You are the ace boon coon. You are it. And not at the demise of your brother next to you or your sister. They're it too. We all can be it together, and we all are it together. And all the world departs in silence as this peace envelops it and gently carries it to truth. No more to be the home of fear. That's where the world's going. That's where you're going. To no longer be the home of fear, but the place of fear has become a present love. When you wake up, when you are enlightened, when you are born again, when you recognize the truth. That place, that life that you were living, that was full of sin consciousness, guilt, and fear, it becomes an oasis of love. The very same place. What happened? A change of mind. That's the only thing that happened. The renewing of the mind. I know that's what happened to me. I exchanged my false self for the self that God created. I said yes to my innocence. I said yes to my wholeness. I said yes to my completeness. I said yes to my sinlessness. I said yes to my oneness with all creation. And it happens that way with anyone that says yes to God. Yes to their true identity. And you will see that anxiety and fear and guilt and judgment and condemnation will begin to walk away from you one by one. Walk away from your thinking. Walk away from your self-image. Walk away from your personage. And you will begin to stand in the person of God, teaching only love, because love is who we are. For love has come. See? Y'all think I be making this stuff up. For love has come. When you show up in your true identity, love has come. When you show up in the knowledge and the awareness that you are the Christ, that you are the Holy One of God, then love has come. When you show up as the healed, as the whole, as the complete, as the timeless and formless, and as the infinite self that God created, you will show up to be a healer to the nations, a healer to the world, by giving it Christ's peace. By giving it Christ's peace. Why? Because you realize that what? The peace is everywhere. And your very presence demands that the peace that is there to be revealed. And before it's revealed in your presence, if there is something that is out of kilter, out of alignment in your presence, it has to be laid on the altar of peace. And so people will come and be in your presence and act all kind of ways, because your presence is offering them a peace offering. And they can't accept it as long as they're holding on to grievances, holding on to thoughts and ideas that are antithetical to their reality. They have to cough it up. They have to give it up. So don't be afraid when people act in a certain way towards you, when you're coming to offer peace and want only peace for them. Be not afraid, but let the transformation occur by your loving, forgiving, patience, forgiveness. Like Jesus said, Father, I forgive them, for they know not what they're doing. They think they're getting rid of the guilt. They think they're getting rid of the anxiety and the fear, but they're only reinforcing it. Forgive them, Father. In other words, they will have another chance. They will have another opportunity. All of us get more chances and more opportunities to handle things differently, because they'll come right back around, and we're going to see how we're going to handle it this time. Are we going to project the fear? Or are we going to say yes to the love? The choice is ours. And it'll keep coming. It'll keep coming. It'll keep coming until we learn the lessons. We all have to learn the same lessons. None of us are exempt. Jesus had to learn the lesson that forgiveness is the way. Well, how do we think we're going to get through here without learning the lesson that forgiveness is the way? Jesus had to learn the lesson that all there is love. How we think we're going to get through life without learning that what all there is love. Jesus had to learn the lesson that the Father of love loves him so much that he don't have to worry about anything. God had him. How do you think we're going to get through this world without learning the lesson that there is one source that sustains all of us and that he's got us? We all have to learn the same lessons. Nobody is exempt. There's no specialness here. Quit running after stars and famous and fame and people. You are as famous as the next person in the sense that you have everything. In your reality. So, Father, the peace of Christ, the peace of this oneness that we all share, is given to us. So have you received what has already been given? Have you received it? You have to receive the atonement or the at-one-ment for yourself first. Before you can heal others, you have to receive it for yourself. Before you can share it with others, you have to receive the at-one-ment for yourself. And it doesn't require anything for you to receive what's already yours, but a recognition. That's it. All these other ideas that have been introduced to us to say we got to do this and you got to do that and you got to pay this and you got to pay that, and then when you do this you got to go here, you got to submit here, and you got none of those requirements. None of those requirements are of God. These are requirements of man. Man's trying to just get you to support whatever he's doing or she's doing. It's no requirements for you to recognize your true identity. You don't have to go nowhere. In fact, it's best for you when you recognize who you are and you wake up to your reality just to sit with yourself for a long time. That will work out better for you than to go run and put yourself in a situation where before you know it, you forgot who you were because you got all these requirements laid on you, all this stuff that's required that you to do, that man required. That's what Jesus dealt with when he came. When he looked at the religious community, they had placed so many laws and burdens on the people. They couldn't fulfill them. The law killeth. Humanity's idea of a proper relationship with the divine, it killeth. You can never fulfill the law. You can never fulfill man's requirement. Try as you may. You've already tried it and you see that you can't. But you can fulfill God. God is the only requirement that you can really fulfill. And that is just a recognition. When you recognize that your oneness with God and each other, that is all required. To love God and to love your neighbor. That's it. It's a recognition that we're all one. We all share the same life. That's the only requirement. And now because you recognize that, what? You walk in love. You walk in forgiveness. Requiring nothing, owing no man nothing, but what? Like Jesus said, owe no man nothing but to love him. That's the only thing. That's the only really requirement. Because out of your love and out of their love for you, there would be such a great circulation of support, a great circulation of a showering of this love that we share. without any requirements. It just become what we live in from our nature. When you live in love, you live from your nature. So you don't have to worry about hurting anyone. Or you don't have to worry about being hurt. Why? Because love can't be hurt. And love can't hurt any other thing. Love is love. Love. It gives. Love seeks to give life and give it more abundantly. Imagine having a relationship like that. Imagine having a household like that, a home like that. Imagine having a community like that. Imagine going to a place of worship like that. Imagine having a government that operates from a place of love. Imagine having a world that is filled with love. Just imagine. It's here. It is here. And so, Father, the peace of Christ is given to us because it is your will that we be what? Saved from this misidentification, that we be saved from ourselves, that we'll be saved from self-deception. We'll be saved from the rejection of our true identity, that we would be saved from living a life, a hellish life of self-suffering and persecution and judgment and fear and sin consciousness and guilt. That's hell. When we grope in the dark and don't know where we're going, that's hell. So he said, this peace, it is the will of God that we be saved from that experience. I was saved from that experience because I didn't know who I was. Many of you that listen to me, you've been saved from that experience. But some of you have stayed where you are. You haven't grown in your expanded awareness of what that really means. We're still hanging out with the same thoughts and the same ideas that we've had 20 years ago. And we're not happy. We're not inspired. We even question our own salvation. We question God. We question everything. Why? Because where's the peace? Where's the love? Where's the prosperity? Where's the creation? Where's the joy and the peace? It's right there as you. It's just that you and I and all humanity needs to be informed of who we really are. It is in the knowing of the self that we experience the peace and the love and the joy. It is in the knowing of your God self that you and God are the same. But I know we say that's a big pill to swallow, Oliver. You mean God and I are equal? The writers in Philippians, that's what he says. He said, let this mind be in you that was also in the man Christ Jesus, who been in the form of God when he was in a body. Notice what he said. He said he was in the form of God. And he thought it not robbery to be equal with God. Why? Because he realized that he and God are one. This is the level of thinking that has to be. This is the level of thinking where the peace is. This is the level of thinking where the sustaining love is. There is nothing between you and anyone or you and God but what we have placed there as a substitute. We have to remove it. So the awakening, the enlightenment, being born again is more about what? The undoing than it is about doing. Undoing what we did. Undoing the way we thought. And isn't it good that we get to have the power to do that? We don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to pay for it. We can do it ourselves. When we realize ourselves, I was mistaken. I was in error. And you do it yourself. Yes, no one can stop you. You could be in prison. You could be in the White House. You could be in war. You could be in bed. It don't matter. When you realize who you are, when you come to yourself, like the prodigal son, that is the beginning of a new awakening. That is the beginning of seeing through the mind of Christ. And so, help us today, but to accept your gift and judge it not. Do not judge your reality. Do not judge your innocence. Do not judge your holiness. Do not judge your infinity, your eternity. Do not judge what your life really is, but just embrace it. Accept this reality. Accept your oneness. Accept your perfection. Accept your divinity. Accept the unlimitedness of your being, the truth of your essence. Accept it. Don't judge it. Don't say, nah, this can't be. Say, nah, you just trying to fool me. No, I will never, ever, ever be a part of fooling anyone. I was fooled myself for years. And I know how that feels. No, I'm going to only speak the truth in love. I'm going to only say what reality is. And this is the reality as I know it now. And every day it continues to expand because we are part of something that is endless. See, there's no finality to you. There's no finality to me. There's no finality to God. This is an ever increasing, ever expanding, borderless awareness that has no beginning and it has no end. And so, do not judge your reality, for it has come to everyone to save everyone from our judgment on ourselves. You know what the final judgment is, which is the next section we're going to be getting into? After the next 5 lessons, the next section is going to be 10 lessons on what is the final judgment. And we're going to set the record straight there, just like we're setting the record straight here under this section called the second coming. We've already determined that you and I, we are that second coming. So we're not looking in the future for something to happen. There is no future. There is no past. There's only the now. And so it has come. The light has come, and you are it. I am it. Everyone is it. One light, one love, one life, one being, one self that we all share. And it has saved us from the judgments of ourselves. And when you judge yourself in righteousness, when you judge yourself according to righteous judgment, that is the last judgment. That is the last judgment. There's nothing to judge you. You are God. How are you going to judge yourself, God? Are you going to condemn yourself? Are you going to condemn yourself? Are you going to reject yourself? How will you judge yourself? How are you seeing yourself? When God walked in the Garden of Eden and asked Adam, Adam, where are you? In other words, God was saying, Adam, judge yourself. Adam said, I was afraid. And I hid myself. That's the wrong judgment. That's the wrong judgment. No. You know what the correct judgment is? And I'm going to close on this because I know this has been lengthy. It needs to be lengthy. You know how long humanity has been in suffering? So my 1.5 hour messages is nothing to compare to how long we've been in suffering. So I don't get taken away. Some people say sometimes, man, your messages are long. I say, how long have you been in your situation? They say, a long time. It's nothing compared to 1.5 hours, right? Hey, look, listen, I know some people that stay up all night watching horror movies all night. They call it binging. You think that helped them determine and align with who they are? No. They watch that stuff all night and then they spend the next year fighting against those thoughts. It's crazy, man, right? There's nothing wrong with binging. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with binging. What I am saying, it is something wrong when we are binging and we haven't binged on who we are and don't know who we are. See, when you find out who you are, you can go into any space. You can watch anything. You can do anything. And it won't affect your psyche. But when you don't know who you are and you binging on all of this dark stuff, it's just plunging you into more darkness. Just think about it. Just think about it. We haven't done the first thing. We haven't seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. See? He said, then all these other things will be added, including right entertainment, right? Fun entertainment. In fact, once you know who you are, you're the happiest person on earth. You have the most fun. It don't matter where you are, you're having the most fun. Why? You're not looking for the thing to give you fun or happiness. No, you're sharing your happiness with everyone. They're glad that you're showing up. Say, Blue is here, John is here, Mary is here. Let's have a party. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. All right, that's enough. I'm gonna cut it right here. I think my friend's here with me. What's going on, Heidi? My West Coast friend, who I love so much. Give me a shout out, Heidi. Now, Heidi may have left. But anyway, she know I love her. I love all of you. I can't help myself. You can't help yourself. When you realize that how sweet it is to be loved by love, and that we are the love that we share. All right, until tomorrow, have a great, peaceful. Remember, peace is everywhere. Go and share your peace with the world today, and we'll see you back on tomorrow. Bye-bye.